Tai Wynyard. Who is Tai Wynyard?
So who am I? I guess at the moment I'm a father, a partner. I've got a fiance back home in Papamoa. I'm a basketball player, and yeah, that's me.
You seem happy.
Yeah,
You happy?
I am quite happy. A bit gutted. We just lost the finals in the NZ League just last week, so yeah, a bit gutted about that. But I'm happy. Good to see the family and my son. You know, it's been quite a while since I've seen him, but yeah, it's good.
What makes you happy?
Makes me happy? Probably my son, a lot of it. My partner really helps that as well. Family time always makes me happy.
Yeah.
Playing basketball now. I love that too. Sport gets me out of the house and keeps me fit, so yeah.
If we dig a little deeper and get to know you a little bit more, what are you all about? What was your upbringing like? You know, who's amongst your family? Where did it all start for you? Where did the journey begin?
So kind of started, well, my basketball career, I guess, started when I was in probably under 13s, you know, just the rep stuff. My mum would take me to every game, and then further on in my career, I kind of met Judd Flavel and assistant for a breakers coach at the time, and he took me under his wing, got me into playing hoops, kind of grounded up from there. So.
What was your upbringing like? Because you come from a pretty legendary family, right? Like a very, very sporty family.
Yeah, so upbringing. Did a lot of travel when I was younger. My dad always going away to events, growing up pretty much on the AMP show, QMU show, all over Opanoni, all over New Zealand, over to Oz, Sydney used to show. In the States, we'd go around all over the place. So I was pretty much brought up on the road. But my mum did a lot of homeschool teaching for me because I'd be out of school a lot, which was good for me. But came back and kind of just carried on through primary and bits and pieces like that. But yeah, it's kind of me when I was younger. Did
you enjoy being on the road? Did you enjoy the AMP shows? Because for a kid, I feel like that's like the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, I loved it, honestly. Just, you know, getting out of New Zealand and seeing different parts of the world. I think a lot of experiences come from that, you know. You get to see different parts of the world, different religions and cultures and that. So.
When did you sort of realise that you actually came from quite a famous and legendary family in the sporting world in New Zealand?
Yeah, so I think I didn't really realise how big my dad was, I guess, when I was younger. All I remember is that I hated going and picking up chips for him. So that was probably the hard part of growing up with a wood chopping father. You have to clean up the shed afterwards. But he was obviously massive, you know, drove me to want to be the best in my sport as well.
Yeah.
It was, massive.
When you were younger and you were travelling the world, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger and a paleontologist.
Is paleontologist dinosaurs?
Yeah, so fossils and bones and that. So, yeah, I was a bit of a different kid, but yeah.
I bet you kind of have imagined how your life would play out then. If we fast forward to basketball and under 13s, what are your earliest memories of basketball and how did playing make you feel?
I think under 13s, I was playing, my first game was with the West Auckland Wabby young guys, and I just loved it, getting out there. And I remember my first game I ever played, and I thought you just threw it at the hoop. I didn't even know how to shoot, so I was shooting shots at the backboard, just straight. But I was so tall, and I was lucky my mum put me into athletics and swimming and all those sports to kind of get me well-rounded. And then when I went to basketball, I was very coordinated, so it was pretty easy for me to pick it up with different coaches and that, but yeah. So.
At that age, playing under 13s, how much taller were you than the other kids?
Oh, I was massive. I was always massive, but I remember in intermediate, there was this one kid that was taller than me, and he was 6'6" in intermediate, and I was probably 6'3" or 6'4", And I was always looking at him like, all right, I've never had someone taller than me in school, so yeah.
I wonder what he's doing now.
Yeah, I had no idea, but yeah.
If we continue on with the basketball, what are your fondest memories with the basketball? Like, do you have memories that stand out to you? Maybe, like sometimes with professional athletes, it's like your high school days that are actually like the most fun days when there was like no pressure on you. What for you was like when it was just carefree, you were just loving playing ball?
I mean, West Auckland, Webby was probably the last time it was carefree for me. You know, when I was 16, everything kind of changed for me. I had to really grow up fast. I was kind of thrown into men age groups. I then went to Rangers when I was 16 and that. So it was kind of back then when I just loved it for the love of the game, and I still love the game, but it was just when you play with men, there's a different aspect of it because they're playing for their families, their financial things as well, you know. So when you're a kid, there's not really that spin-off on it. So you can just go out there and have fun and not think anything of it. Whereas I'm 16 with these adults, I still am playing like that, but, you know, there's a massive different side of the game for them. So, yeah.
You became the youngest person to take the court for the Tall Blacks. How old were you? And what do you remember from that moment, like pulling on that black singlet?
Yeah, I was 16 and I was, I remember these, Mika Vakona, we were in the team talk. The first game, we were playing Korea at home at the North Shore Event Centre. And he said, bleed black, and I still always remember those words. It was like, just, you know, go out there, leave it all on the court and bleed black. And he was one of the main guys that would always leave it out there, you know. He'd leave with scratches, whatever, but he'd leave it all out there every time he hit the court. So I think that was my biggest memory from that, kind of my first game. And then obviously we won as well. And I scored my first points in that game. So it was massive. But yeah.
Other 16-year-olds, I mean, we both know what 16-year-olds do, right? When you're at high school, like you're having fun, you're going out with your mates, like there's boys or girls, you know. But you are in a professional environment playing basketball. How was that? How did you deal with that?
Yeah, so year 12 and 13, I wasn't really at school very much at all. Like, I think year 13 I won this award for being a phantom student because I was never there. I was always away. So, it was tough, you know, because you don't really get to go out and experience that school life and like just being a kid, really, you know. Year 12, I was development player for Breakers. We'd train every day pretty much, and I'd head up to school at 12:30, get there in time for lunch and have the last 2 periods and then go home. So it was like, it was tough. And I think I was lucky enough to have a lot of support from my teachers and that, like Miss Penty, Shirley Penty. She was massive for me, just getting all my grades sorted to get over to college. And so I had a lot of support in that aspect, so I was lucky there. But
did you feel like you were missing out? Like you're obviously hugely successful on the court and as an athlete, but did you feel like you were missing out on this other part of your life?
Yeah, like I did. But I think at the time there was so much going on that I didn't even realise what I was missing out on. Yeah. You know, you don't realise until now when you think back, you're like, far out, I put all my eggs in this basket. And then obviously for me now, like it hasn't gone the way I planned to. But, you know, you kind of look back on it, you're like, yeah, okay. But I think it's the decisions that I made, and like I enjoy it for what it is, you know. Like it was amazing to be able to have that experience. Just like I don't get to have those after school, like be hanging out with your friends after school. Yeah. I got to be a part of different things, you know. So there's positives and negatives on both sides of it. So
by the time you turned 18, you had already achieved so much, you know, becoming a Tall Black, playing for the Breakers, winning national titles with your school and representatively as well. Did you feel pressure? Like, did you feel that pressure to perform? Like the team would lean on you as like the star, you know, like as soon as you're 16 and you're named in this Tall Blacks team, everyone's like, whoa, this guy is like our great hope. He's going to take basketball New Zealand back to like, you know, the heyday. Did you feel any of that?
Yeah, I think I did, you know, and thinking back now, yeah, I always had so much pressure on me. I was like, do I deserve this? You know, like, am I supposed to be here? Or like, and I had these thoughts, but I didn't really recognize them at the time because I just keep pushing. But, you know, I was like, do I really, what about this guy here? He should be here, you know, and I always had these thoughts in the back of my head, like questioning whether I was, you know, worthy, I guess. And yeah.
What sort of age did those feelings start? And did you talk to anyone about them?
No, I didn't. Not until now. You know, I haven't even said that. But yeah, like probably 16 when I made that Tall Blacks team, and you know, you can feel other people looking at you at your age, and they're thinking, oh, I should be there. It shouldn't be him, and it's just kind of stigma around it within New Zealand sport a little bit. You know that tall poppy syndrome. People want to think, but I think it's also mental for me. Like I'm thinking that these people are like talking rubbish behind my back, whatever, and it plays off into the game because then you're playing and you want to look as though you're not. So when I would go back to high school, right, I would try to look as if I'm not really trying, just so that if anything embarrassing happened to me, then, you know, it doesn't look like if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, and I think we as athletes do this a lot because, like, we don't want to look as if we're trying hard or we're, you know, going our 100% and then someone does something to us and we should be better than this person and it's embarrassing, but really we should be unafraid to go and give it 100% every time. Stuff like that is pretty tough to deal with, especially for young athletes coming up. We have social media. Yeah. We have all these other things that weren't really around when I was around. And, that they're having to deal with. And they go home and try to switch off your phone. Oh, like, you can't just switch off your phone. It's always going to be there. The internet's always going to be there. Yeah, when you now actually listen and talk about it, how do you feel? Like, do you feel proud of yourself? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, a little bit. You should be. No, for sure, yeah, I do, yeah, for sure. Look at our nation, you know. We're a nation of 5 million people and you've had the most amazing journey in basketball. No, it hasn't always gone to plan, like you said, but the things that you've managed to do. Signing with the University of Kentucky, again, can you like digest that now? About this is the second biggest university or college in America, you said to me. I mean, they've won, is it 8 NCAA Division I titles? I mean, like the who's who of the NBA have gone to that school and here you were about to sign a 4-year deal with them. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy to think now, you know, thinking back, it's, yeah, like you don't, I don't know, I think I didn't, honestly, when I had my picks down, I had 3 picks. It was Villanova, Texas Longhorns, and UK. And I really wanted to go to Villanova, didn't want to go to Texas. And I was kind of iffy on UK because I didn't know if I'd play or what. And, you know, I think there was a lot of people in my corner trying to talk and tell me kind of, this is the best bet, no, you should do this. And it was really hard to make the decision. I think that was a tough one, you know, like you don't want to say no to one of the best colleges in the States because you're like, this opportunity doesn't really come, you know, once in a lifetime. And yeah, so I think looking back on it, I was just kind of amazed by it, you know, yeah. Going over to the States on a scholarship at this incredible college, what were your dreams? What were your goals? Yes, the visits were amazing. You know, you go to every school and you see the whole campus and how massive it is. And my dreams were just to get to the NBA. You know, that was my dream. That was my goal. It still is, you know. I'm sure if I just keep getting better 1% every day, it's still a possibility. But yeah, that is my goal. And yeah. You'll get there. Yeah. Honestly, like hearing you speak, you will get there. Like I believe that. Yeah. And you believe it in yourself as well. What was the college experience like for you? It was different, like I kind of slotted in. So I was 17 when I went to college. I was real young and I left halfway. So because our years don't really line up, I left halfway through their season. So they'd already been together for half a year.
Yeah.
Then I slotted in and it was great. Like the trainings were amazing. The facilities were great. The people were like good people, welcomed me in amazingly. And yeah, I think it was tough as it went on, because I was kind of like, oh, should I redshirt my first year or not? And then I ended up redshirting. And then I was like, well, am I going to play here? Coaches was talking to me like, yeah, like we have a position next year. And I just had to really kind of think about what I wanted to do while I was there. And then, yeah, it was my whole kind of journey through that. It was tough. Like it's a grind. It's a facility where they just knock out NBA prospects, NBA talent every day, every year. They have at least one pick in the draft, one from their college in the draft. So, yeah, that's...
Do they care about the humans behind the athletes?
Yeah, it's tough to answer that, but I think that Division 1 basketball is based around 4 years of your life, really, and that's how the universities look at it. They want to really kind of like they want to use you as long as they can for those 4 years and push you as hard as you to bring you to the best of your potential, I guess, So, yeah, it's definitely a machine that just pumps players out. And as I say, like, you only have 4 years to play in college. And once those 4 years are up, that's you done. So, and then the university moves on to the next 4 years, or every year it could change. You never know. So
you seem like a very calm and like level-headed person, but I'm sure you've gone through your own struggles, as so many people have, and it's that people just don't know about, right? Like everyone's facing their own battles that no one knows about. Have you been through points in your life when you've been at breaking point, like in these deep, dark holes?
Yeah, so I think it'll be better to say the kind of story, the journey.
Yeah.
So
Let's do the journey.
Yeah, so I was kind of over in Kentucky and playing basketball. I'm not really getting on the court. I'm down on it. I'm turning to off-court things more than, I should be. And I'm making the wrong decisions for myself. And it's my own doing, and I can look back on that now and say, look, I had the opportunity. I chose not to go to the gym as much as I should have and different things like that. And they all led me down a path to then I just crashed and I made a mistake and I can't remember what I did, but I got sent off the team, sent home. Oh, it was, so I went to a party, right? Okay, this is the one. But I went to a party and there was a guy there with a gun and I ran up to stop the guy from pulling it out of his holster I assumed he was trying to shoot it. I don't know, but I ran up to stop him, called him an Uber, sent him home off his ways, and then I left as well. So, and then the next morning I wake up with all these calls saying, oh, look, Tai, what have you done? There's all these things out saying that you had a bodyguard at this party. And I was like, look, I had no bodyguard. All I did was ran over to kind of stop the situation. And so I had to deal with that. They sent me home for the rest of the season, which was all of March, which is March Madness, which is what everyone tries to go towards in college. And I'm just at home watching the guys play, and I just went downhill and I spiraled and I just lost it, kind of, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm trying to talk and sort out where I'm going to go next, transfer, talking to different colleges. And it just felt like everything just came crashing down at once. And I was booked into a hospital there, and because they were afraid that I was going to hurt myself. And I was just losing it. And I remember it, like my whole mental was just like, remembering back to that situation is bloody, I've never spoken about, never felt it before, but it was terrible, and I kind of went through there where they gave me a lot of drugs, I guess, to a lot of medicine to help me feel normal again. but all it did was kind of numb my emotions and pain and all that. So I didn't really deal with what it was. And so then my parents get a phone call because I'm absolutely just losing it, and they hear about it, and they fly straight from New Zealand straight to Texas the next day, and drove from Texas to Kentucky, which is a massive journey, just the next day as soon as they found out how bad it was, because I didn't talk to them. You know, I didn't really reach out and talk to anyone, and I was just tried to deal with it on my own. But yeah, looking back now, I wish I had have, but I mean, you can't go back. Anyway, so I get on a plane, and then because I'm taking this medicine, I'm feeling better. I go on my visits, and I'm like, okay, everything's going to be great. And I'm feeling good again. And I get on this plane, I go to the visits, and I'm good. And then I go home to New Zealand for about a week, and I'm talking to different clubs, and I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And then I remember this distinctly where I was sitting on the Swiss ball, and I was bouncing, I was doing a workout, and then I was sitting on the Swiss ball, and then it just started all over again. Where, so my problem was I kind of felt like others were talking about me, is what it is. And it kind of ties back to when I was younger, feeling as though people thought that I didn't deserve this spot or thing like that. So if you really think about it, it kind of goes in. I didn't think about that until now. But yeah, so I was sitting there feeling as though I was getting talked about, and it wasn't real, you know, and I couldn't see that. I still find it hard to see that it wasn't, because when you're in it, like, it's hard to explain. Yeah. But it's hard. It's like a deep hole where you can just lose yourself in. And I went in that, and I was running around on balconies, and I was bloody screaming at the top of my lungs and all sorts of stuff like that. It's terrible. And yeah, I was lucky that I had my mum, you know. My mum was there for me so much, for my family. I think because I had them when I was home, I was able to kind of be okay, but I was still not right, you know. And it kind of went on for like a year and a half of my life of sitting in the room, just eating, putting on weight. I ended up cancelling all the other clubs. So what I told the clubs was I hurt my back because I was too afraid to talk out about it. And I was like, well, my back's still sore, I can't come. But really, I was just feeling, I can't even explain it. Yeah, so I cancelled all that, yeah. And I was, sorry, I went up north, all that, and this was probably for a year long I was dealing with it, sitting in my room, just staring at the wall. All I'd get out of my room to do was eat, go to the toilet, not even shower, barely. You know, hygiene just didn't matter to me, and my mum would have to tell me to shower. And in and out of psych wards and all that, on heavy medication, and it was terrible.
It's so brave of you, Tai, to speak about this stuff. Honestly, you're going to help so many people because, you know how you said, if you don't mind me asking some questions, you said that you were afraid to speak up. Why were you so afraid to speak up about what you were going through inside? Did you not think people would understand?
Yeah, well, I think so. You know, I think it is a bit of that. Yeah. You know, like I don't. There wasn't a massive push for it like there is now. Back in 2018, I guess, 2017, 2018. And yeah, I was too afraid, I think, you know, that was my thing. I was too afraid, and I just wish I had just called mum and said, look, I'm feeling down. Can you come see me, or can I come home? You know, yeah.
And this all started when you were in America?
Yeah.
What did your mum and dad say when they got called and they came over?
They just said they were here for me, and they just helped me pack my things up. And just because I was on so much medication, I was just not the same. I wasn't even responsive, really. I was just numbed. So I don't really remember much, you know. It was, I can't really remember much of it at all.
Do you remember when you did come back to New Zealand, and when you went back up north, do you remember your mum helping? Like, do you remember what she did for you? Or is that sort of...
Yeah, like she didn't judge, you know what I mean? She didn't say, snap out of it, or see, like me and my dad really clashed because obviously he's such a strong-headed person. We just clashed. So he's like, just snap out of it. And it's, and my mum was more understanding, like, look, I know you're dealing with this. Talk to me. What is it? What's going on with you? What is it, you know? And yeah. Like, she dealt with a lot, my mum, you know, she dealt with a lot. I remember, I don't even know if you want to go into it, but I jumped out of the car, I ran away, I ran down to the bush. I thought people were chasing me, like all these things that now saying it and it's like, far out. Did I really do that stuff? You know, but I did. And it wasn't me, but I was just in this mindset where I couldn't see anything but darkness and I just lost myself totally. And I think,
I think it's pretty incredible that when you talk about that place that you were in, that you're literally sitting here right now and you're a professional basketballer. Like, it's incredible that you're doing what you're doing. For other people that may be in the same situation as you, what do you say to them to try and help them? You know, what can help in that situation? Because you're the only one that knows what it feels like and what was going on.
Yeah. Like, it's just, you know, don't be afraid to speak out, even if it's just me. And I don't even know you, maybe just talk to someone, you know. If you're feeling like that, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling anything, talk to your parents, talk to someone close to you. It doesn't have to be family, it could be anyone, you know. Just reach out and just let someone know, because when you deal with things internally for so long, they fester and then they become this massive thing that, you know, sometimes you can't control. So just speak out.
Why? What made you speak out? Why did you want to talk about it now?
I think, so in my head, I was like, I don't want to talk about what I've been through until I've done something after. Like, because if I come out, and it's still the fearfulness of other people, I guess, but yeah.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Why? Is it the stereotypes that are associated or that you think are associated with it?
Yeah, like
Why did you think you needed to achieve something?
Yeah, like I think everyone thinks of athletes as just like, you look at comments, right, on Facebook and they're always so harsh on athletes. If you don't win, you're useless. If you win, you're great, you know? And it's hard. You can't win every game, you know? And that's something that a lot of people don't understand just looking in. Like, we're not as strong as we look. We're just like you. We're human, you know. We have families, we have emotions, we have feelings. We're not just this person either running with a ball or shooting a ball into a hoop. We are people, you know. And I think that's the hard thing. And what some people just need to understand is that, you know, we go through life struggles as well. You know, we're blessed to be able to play a sport because of athleticism and the work that we put in to get there. But
I think that's a really, really important message for people who are both struggling and maybe don't understand. Like, it's a message for them as well. We've talked about the journey and the tough times, but we actually need to talk about coming through it, because, like, in the last few years, how did you get back into basketball? I wanted to talk about actually coming out of it, because I've seen that you've talked about a coach. Who was that person that helped you go from being in that room by yourself with those voices to actually back on the basketball court and a performing athlete? Yeah,
so I was at Breakers one day with my brother. He was doing a training camp, and my mum forced me pretty much to get out of the house. And I did, and I was shooting around, playing muck around, and I think I was weighing about 145 to more when I walked in there. And my old coach, Judd Flavel, comes down, and he's the one that got me into the Breakers when I was 15, into Breakers Academy, and really started pushing me hard from when I was young. And he come down and said, look, let's just get you back playing, Tai. Like, you know, you're still good. And he was the coach of the Southland Sharks at the time. My partner was pregnant with my son now. And so towards the end of that year, in October when he was born, I remember I kind of made a promise to myself that I need to turn my life around for him. You know, I was like, look, I need to pull my head in. I have a son now. I need to just change my ways real quickly. Otherwise, you know, who am I to be a role model for him if he sees me like this? You know, just, yeah, I didn't care about myself then. So now, and then like after I saw him, I laid eyes on him, I was like, fire, this is the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. You know, he went to Skaboo, he had a lot of different things going on, and he made it through it. And then I just saw it, and while I was sitting there for the whole night, all day pretty much, for about 8 hours, just sitting there staring at this little thing that was part me and part her. And I was like, Jesus, I'm so lucky, and I promise you, I will turn my life around. And even though, you know, you can't hear me, I promise you, you know, I'm changing my bloody life for you. And yeah, so carry on. That's kind of what changed my life right there, you know. And I'm lucky enough to have a supportive partner, a loving family, and all those things that I can talk to, that I can be with. But, you know, yeah, I'm lucky there.
I want to know more about your son.
Yeah, my son.
Yeah, how does he make you feel now when you hold him, when you see him? How does this little human being that is yours make you feel?
I mean, he's such a funny guy right now. He's like reciting the ABCs. I was just with him yesterday, the day before, I was bloody looking after him. And he's a crack-up little guy. Like, he'll just run around, cause havoc. Have you seen those commercials with the little boy with the undies off running around in the beach? He's just like that. He's just like a little monkey. Yeah. So yeah.
Are you proud of him?
I am. Yeah, for sure. You know, and I love him so much. You know, and I think they say you can never know a father's love, but you know, I do now. It's crazy. It's so lucky, so blessed, and for him to come out and have no health complications is just so lucky as well, you know. Just massive.
Are you proud of yourself when you think back on like just this 40 minutes, let alone those years of your life? Like, are you proud of yourself? Look at where you are now.
Yeah, like I think I still have doubt, honestly, but I am proud, I guess. You know, I am proud of what I've done. I do think that. I'm proud, yeah.
You should be so proud, like unbelievably. I'm sure one day you'll look back and maybe you won't have those doubts anymore. Who is Tai behind the jersey, behind that singlet? Who's Tai Wynyard?
Yeah, I'm a father, I guess, and I'm a caring person, you know. I'll help anyone, any way I can. I have so much love to give. And just, as I say, reach out if you need help. Oh, I've been off medication now for 2 years in October. So stoked about that. And yeah, just keep pushing. And I'm just going to keep getting better. And let's do this together. Keep getting better and speak out, yeah.
You're an amazing story of hope.
Oh, sweet, thank you.
Amazing story of hope, seriously.